Welcome to the Leading Lane podcast for real estate pros by real estate pros with your hosts, Ashley Frederick and Stephen Birch. If you're looking for an honest, authentic, and raw perspective, you found it.
Welcome back. And thank you for hopefully you listened to our last episode. We were talking about first hires and employees. And so naturally, I think it's great to share about probably one of the best decisions for at least for my company that we did and being able to help us grow and be able to take over market share is hire a marketing coordinator. In our market at the time, everybody was still taking, and there's still people doing it, taking photos with their iPhone or whatever else, and you can see them in the mirror. They have the toilet seat up. Like there's one photo, the dog's in there. Sometimes we have agents that are just driving by the house, don't even get out of the house and take the picture from their window, and you can see their side mirror. So, anyways, what I really wanted to do. Partially because I have a little bit of a control issue. I'm getting much better at that.
You?
Yeah.
No.
Like high expectations, control issues, a lot of these different things. Nobody else has those, I'm sure.
Never. I don't have any of those.
So what we were doing, like we decided to hire a photographer, and it was an outside photographer, and we were paid for all the photography for all of our listings. It's included. We did it for every single one of our listings. That was part of our investment into the listings on the marketing. At the end of the year, when we were going over all of our expenses, I saw the amount that we were spending on said photographer, and I was like, I did the math, and I was like, we can hire somebody. So then we really started diving in. Like, not only could we get rid of the photographer, we were outsourcing the social media. We were outsourcing a lot of the stuff on the website. We were having to do all the events and everything ourselves. All of our all of these other things that we can pull together, reduce those expenses, hire a full-time employee versus an independent contractor. We went to a W-2 full-time. And now we're able to provide the photography, the Matterport. She does absolutely gets the listing package together. Like it's absolutely insane. So in the first portion of it, it was going to reduce our cost, and then we were getting more value of it. But what really was happening when we started really truly recruiting, we were able to, this was like my number one, card that I would throw on the table, that, hey, we have a marketing coordinator that is going to be able to do all of this for you. You no longer have to coordinate. You don't have to do anything. Nor do you have to pay for it, right? It's included. So we were able to recognize that by doing that, yes, it's a support position, but we were able to remove I call them tedious tasks away from agents. I mean, how long does a person truly, take to upload the photos to the MLS and go through them, organize them, and then blah, 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 all these different things. So the goal then and our focus changed when in that growth step there was, what other things can we do and provide to our agents? A lot like your transaction coordinator. What else can we do to remove those tedious tasks, to get them from out behind from their computer? They're not experts in photography or Photoshop or anything else. So what can we do to help them to get in front of more people in less time and with screen time? And that was a huge eye opener for us, and it saved us money. And now we have Sky, which is our director of marketing. And she is on point, right? Like she handles anything and everything with marketing, anything that events, above and beyond where we even started with this position. And she's grown. She's handling our leads. I mean, just absolutely everything. And it's great to be able to push that now to one said department, instead of us trying to half-ass everything and have piecemeal everything out there. It was a huge game changer. And the other part of it too, and I always say this, is that marketing, like when you get a listing, when you market that listing, you're truly not marketing that listing for that seller that you're putting the sign in their yard. You're marketing that for that next seller that is looking to sell their house. So when they look at our site and our marketing materials, ours is consistent across the board because we have the same photographer. And when you look at other companies, they're hiring third parties and different photographers, not having everything staying consistent across the board. So this helped us keep that consistency level there, provide value to our agents, and then being able to make sure that we have the piece that the sellers are able to see and get it done quicker and faster than pretty much any other third party is able to do. And it's within our branding guidelines. So love our director of marketing. She's absolutely phenomenal. And, um, being able to have another person there on, like to support Kim and to support everybody else is, I just can't even tell you, like, I don't even know what we would do without her. So it's fantastic.
Stephen, what would you say, like, how did your agents react to that when you made that change? I'm sure whenever there's change, there's a little bit of kickback, but what was the, first process as far as what your agents thought, felt, and then how has that come, present day?
Yeah. So I think that first, like, they had a loyalty to the photographer that we've been working with for some time. And so they were a little upset that we were ending that relationship. And so I just had to reassure them that we're not ending the relationship. We still will use this person. And I mean, we still hire him for events and everything else, but for the actual inside, I had to really show them the value and the benefit. And it was almost like I had to create a whole pitch deck, if you will, that to be able to say, like, hey, this is what's coming, these are the changes, but this is your benefit, right? Like, and now they were able to, it lessened the blow of the change. And there for a while, Sky she had a death in the family, unfortunately, and so she was out for a couple of weeks, and we contracted out to another third party. And I think almost every single person that got a listing while Sky was away came back and was like, that photographer was nice, we liked her, however, it's not Sky, and we love Sky. And so I think it actually, her being able to be away and not easily accessible, changed and increased the level of appreciation that agents had, because I think they didn't like the change, and then they kind of maybe got a little bit spoiled and forgot what it was like, not having somebody and knowing the way our style and how we work. So yeah, it was definitely a little bit of a change, but ultimately, again, I think it all goes back to in leadership being open and honest and showing the true reason of why you're making that decision. And then you get the buy-in from your agents from there. So yeah, it wasn't that terrible. We made it through there, but
Yeah, and for those that don't know Sky, she's like this little pint size of a human, and her personality is fantastic. But I think even more so what's cool is obviously she does your listing stuff, but I love too that when you guys are at conferences or whatnot, she really tries to get you guys in the moment, enjoying those types of things too, which I think people forget sometimes when they're at conferences. Like I even told Sky the last time I was like, can you be our photographer for my office as well when we're at these conferences? Because I forget.
yeah,
So it's great that she, thinks outside the box for those types of things.
yeah.
And
And I
then
think it goes like, go ahead. I'm sorry.
nope, go ahead.
Well, I was going to just reiterate, like you were talking about Jessica and being able to watch her growth. Like Sky, she'll tell you, right? And we joke about it all the time. Like Sky's not a people person. She doesn't like people. She's not a social person. She's more an introvert. So this position is fantastic because she doesn't have to talk to a lot of people. So being able to see her growth from when she first started, I approached her. One of our credit unions was closing down in our area, and so I messaged her. I was like, "Hey, I know that you like photography as a hobby. Do you want to make it a career?" And she's like, "Well, I don't like people. I don't want to do real estate." And so being able to see, 3-4 years ago or however long it's been that she joined our company and where she is now. I mean, we had a meeting yesterday with somebody in our office, and we were trying to measure out 7 feet, like weird thing that we were doing.
I can
And she's
imagine.
literally laying on the floor and trying to measure out 7 feet, like trying to figure, she's 5'2", like
I was
I
gonna
think
say
like
like five
90.
foot two
Like,
plus my
yeah.
leg.
But yeah, so like, I mean, just being able to see her come out of that shell and feel comfortable in
And then
that
didn't she
network,
get a drone license too?
yeah, like she has a pilot's license. Like
Yeah.
we paid for her to go like actually get licensed, and I was like, I don't know what that entails. She did all the work, and she's like, I have a license. I'm a pilot license now. Like, what?
Oh,
I
cool.
didn't know that that's what you had to do. So, and again, that's growing and investing in your people. Like that's what you have to do. They want to grow, we want to grow. So we're now able to not only add the photography Matterport, now we have the drone that we're able to offer as well. So it's continuing to level up once you master something. What were you going to say about your office?
So we're not quite at the stage of hiring a market manager. I think sometimes when you get to these rural areas,
Mm-hmm.
it makes things interesting as well. I think it's definitely something we could look at in the future. So right now we do actually work through, I think, 3 different photographers slash videographers. It's mine actually comes from like 45 minutes away. That tells you how slim this is of pickings. I think we're one of the few offices where almost all of ours are, professional pictures. It's one of my, pitches and my listing appointments because honestly don't think that other offices use professional photographers. There might be one, and then they might just like pick and choose which listings, which I don't think is
Do you
fair. I think that. Go
do you
ahead.
think they pick and choose based off of like the sales
Right.
price of the?
Yes. Mhm.
I think that's shitty.
Yep.
It
I
doesn't matter
agree.
if it's a
So
ten
like
thousand
if
dollar
it's
house
a
or 10 million.
correct, right? So that's like one of my biggest additional pet peeves is it doesn't matter the client, like all clients should be treated the same, right? Whether it's an $80,000 house, $100,000 house, or $1 million house, every single one of my clients gets the same treatment. They get the same type of photography. Sure, will they turn out the same? Not necessarily, but they are still having their house showcased way better than any cell phone can do. And I started doing professional pictures on my own, like as far as hiring it out, I think maybe for almost 4 years ago. And let me tell you, people pick up on that when people are looking at homes. They're always like, your homes always look the nicest. And
Mm-hmm.
right when they come to sell their home, like 3 or 4 years later, that's what they're going to remember. So,
Right.
I've pushed that with other agents in the office. I think the majority of them have swapped over to using a photographer, and it's just like night and day. I just had this conversation with a seller yesterday about, that we'd schedule professional photography. And a lot of it has to do with, COVID was a really big time for people to move without ever seeing the property.
Mhm.
So virtually, right, the pictures needed to look dang good as far as the videos in order to even to get them to consider. So I think that set our office way ahead in COVID periods was because our pictures looked so great. Again, you have someone that's looking to move, thousands of miles across the country, and they're trying to make a decision off of a distorted cell phone picture with a dog laying in the middle of the living room. Like it just blows my mind. And I think it's a disservice to our profession as well. So I'm
Mhm.
a pretty big stickler for pictures. So currently in our office, the agents are responsible for them. And it is the same thing, right? You kind of like get to know, I think for me, like, right, my photographer knows what to expect was the Box Brownie app. So
Mhm.
Imran, I think it was the one that put me onto that at some point in time. And for those of you that don't know, Box Brownie is this really cool app that helps you do all kinds of things. So at the end of the day, like, remember, we can't like remove trees or make the picture look, different than what's reality. But in central Wisconsin, we have a lot of cloudy days. And I hate like a front picture that's cloudy and gloomy.
Yeah.
So photographer will take the front picture, and then I submit it to Box Brownie, and I get to pick what sky I want. So it's, blue skies, sky with a couple clouds, a little bit of sun. And again, that front picture looks 10 times better. And that, a lot of times I'll show the sellers like the original picture and then the edited picture of the background. And they're like,
Mhm.
oh my gosh, it looks amazing.
Yeah.
So there's that. And then sometimes, right, you get some like there's just like boxes in a corner that they just couldn't move or whatnot. Same thing,
Mhm.
you can like draw a little circle. The box brownie will remove it for you. They do floor plans. One thing I found really helpful during that COVID timeframe too was vacant houses, and you can virtually stage.
Yeah.
You can pick the theme, and then obviously you just have to make sure that you state that it's virtually staged. Depending on how many pictures I have to edit or whatnot. I mean, I'll edit all my outside pictures, or if the lighting was just off. But I mean, maybe $50 if it's a really extensive repairs, or changes that need to be made, or a lot of outside pictures. Maybe $100, but $100 for your again like this you're literally selling yourself, right, as
Mhm.
an agent when you're presenting these. So to spend that extra $100 to make sure that your clients' pictures look the best, but then also that people know that your pictures look fantastic, well worth the money spent.
Absolutely. I think it's a huge investment. And it's a differential for you to be able to, I mean, if you're going to try to win a listing and, they're interviewing multiple other agents and you're able to show them consistent pieces that this is how you are different, how you stand out. Because the more that you stand out, in my opinion, as their listing agent, means the more that their listing, their home is going to stand out, which, that
Hmm.
is higher sales price, quicker, sales time on, days on market. So I think that, yes, there is a little bit of investment to do it. And they even have run specials and everything. Like, I think you can do a photo for like less than $1 on when you first sign up. Like, don't quote me on
Yeah, I
that,
think it's
but
like a
I know that,
daily dust photo of like $1.60 or something.
yeah, like like stupidly, ridiculously cheap investment to be able to do it. But it's just something different that does not cost you a lot of money, that you don't have to go out there and do anything absolutely insane. And for anybody that's listening, what I would really recommend, like if you don't are not doing professional photography yet, or Matterport, or these other different types of media, start with something like Box Brownie. Start something small, see what the difference, see what the interaction is like, and what your engagement is like. Throw it on social and see, vote A or B type of thing. Just
Mhm.
play around with it a little bit so that that you're getting the confidence, and you're finding that value proposition for yourself to be able to clearly articulate to the other people.
Well, and I think even like another avenue would be, I understand like starting out, funds are tight. So I think if you have like a local technical school or something like that, like reach out,
And
like see if they have a photography program. And,
yeah,
again, if someone's trying to learn, it'd be a great option for you to, more or less just do a trade of like, hey, here's like a property. Can you photograph it for me? Might
right.
not even cost you anything, right? But it could be that you help them, they help you, and you establish, a role down the road. But I think that you can get creative about it. But it really it goes back to you have to spend money to make money, and
Yeah.
I do really feel like it's part of our job to make sure that our listings are shining when they're online, and that we're doing those extra little things because that's what I would want, right? If I were selling my house, I'd want to know that my agent was taking those little extra steps to make it stand out in what, could be a seller's market, buyer's market, whatever. I think that's the other thing that I noticed too was during COVID, people that used to do professional photography stopped doing professional photography
Mm.
because the listing was going to sell regardless. And so I remember I was on a call with someone, a different agent, and he was referring someone, up here. And I mentioned that I always do professional photography. And he even said, yeah, I got a little lazy during COVID. It was going to sell anyway. So why waste the time on professional photography? And it irked me so bad because one, I guarantee you probably would have got a better list to sale price ratio if you would have done the professional pictures because it could have brought in different buyers. And
Right. Right.
secondly, like right when the market does change and things aren't flying off the shelf
Mhm.
and sellers start to research you and they see, that there are these not so good pictures, just two or three. Like now, maybe you don't stand a chance in that listing presentation because you weren't always doing it.
Right. Right. And I mean, I think that that is rule 101 in real estate. It's consistency. So whatever you start, be consistent with it, master it, and then you can add on to it. Never take away. You can always pivot, right? But don't take away the different value adds that you're bringing to the table. I mean, that's what everybody else is doing. So stand out amongst the crowd. And I guarantee you, if you are consistent and persistent with it, people are going to start seeing and recognize. And at the end of the day, you know that you have served your clients well and that you're not making choices based off of sales price or the way that the market is, if it's hot or not. You have to make sure that you, as you know, your value proper, are constantly doing it. You wouldn't want your
Right.
doctor
It's
to be
like your
confused.
brand. I mean, right?
Right.
Like your brand. Like you don't want your brand shouldn't be changing because the market's slow or because the market's
Right.
fast. Your brand and how you treat people should be steadfast. And I think that when you step back and look at like a 3 or 5 year period, like that return on investment, I can guarantee you will be there by the amount of continued business that you get. A lot of times it comes up in my reviews that people post about, how
Mhm.
great the photography was and how they did a great job. And my favorite is when the sellers get their pictures back and then they're like, I mean, do I really want to move? This house looks like somebody else's house. And that's one of my favorite things, is just because it's so fun to put that, in a different light for them. One closing gift I like to do too is that if it's somebody that has been in the house for a really long time, or it was like super personal for them and their family, is
Mhm.
just do a little book, right? Like
Yeah.
a little book of the pictures that you took. Add in 10 pictures. Thank you for your business. Hope all is well in your next chapter. And I'll tell you, like, those little things, and how so many people ask for the pictures afterwards, so I like to make little books for them, and what
Yeah.
a keepsake for them. But again, like, right, you'll stay top of mind for sure.
Well, and think of like if that ends up on their coffee table and at their new house, and then other people are seeing it, picking it up, like they're legit marketing for you now. Like that's going to be a conversation piece like on their coffee table, and they are going to promote you. So yes, stand out, be different. It's okay to not do what everybody else is doing. Think outside of the box, and tenfold that's going to come back to you. So
Yeah.
awesome. Cool. Well, thank you everybody for listening today. Please go like, subscribe, and tune into the next episode. It's going to be great. Cool.
If you've enjoyed today's episode, please like, subscribe, and share with others. Stay connected for more genuine insights and strategies to boost your real estate career on Facebook, or check out our website. We'll see you next time.